The KOR Protection System is a reusable packing solution that uses vacuum-rigidizing panels to mold around your gear and lock it in place for transport. In this video, we'll demonstrate step-by-step what it is, how it works, how it delivers superior protection, and how one system supports endless load configurations.
This is the KOR Protection System. As you can see, this KOR panel is completely fluid. But watch this. We're going to take our light bulb and fully encapsulate it in the KOR system. Bleed the extra air out, close our valve, connect our pump to pull the air out of the system, creating a vacuum. Seal the valve. Now the panel is completely rigid. Open the valve to let air back into the system, and our light bulb is still fully functional. That is KOR. This is the KOR 3614 system, and I'm going to show you how it works. In the base of the case is a double panel. What that means is we created one big panel with air baffles in the back, so you only have to pull one vacuum for 2 layers of protection. First, you want to smooth out the media so that you can get an even layer all the way across to protect your equipment. Once you've done that, you want to take your primary object and place it in the base of the double panel. Gently nestle it in so that the media conforms around the shape of the object. Fold the top of the panel over, then you're ready to pack the second layer. You want to take your time and nestle the objects inside so that you get a good impression. Now, you want to close the valve all the way, connect our vacuum pump, and then pull some air out of the system. Once you pull partial air out, then you're able to manipulate the media while it's still semi-soft. And by doing this, you're fully encapsulating the objects with thousands of touch points, whereas traditional cut foam only provides you with a limited amount. Also, as we pull the vacuum and pull the air out of the system, we're jamming the media together and filling the negative space between objects. So you can pack things within 5 millimeters of each other and they will never touch. Reconnect to the valve and pull the remainder of the air out of the system. Then put the tether plug into the valve, which is a backup redundancy we created. And now, as you can see, this panel is solid. It doesn't move, but there still is enough flexibility in there and room for the media to move to absorb the shock and vibration during transit, so that if there is a significant impact on the assets you're packing inside, the media shifts to absorb that impact, not the object inside. Once you've packed the top layer of the double panel, you want to take your single panel and lay it over top. This acts as the replacement for the top foam that's traditionally in a case. Again, you want to smooth out the media, close your valve, and then connect the vacuum pump to pull the remainder of the air out. Once you pull some of the air out, you have the ability to compress more of the panel around the objects inside to get even a tighter, more succinct connection. Then pull the remainder of the air out. Now you've transformed that panel from a fluid panel to a completely rigid panel. Insert the plug and then close the case and off you go. But the beauty of the system is, let's say I wanted to change out this top layer of equipment. It's simple. Open the valve, let air back into the system, remove the equipment you no longer need, replace it with the equipment that you do. Just gently nestle them down in there. Pull the air out of the system again. Seal the valve. Now I need to reform this single panel on top. So once again, I let air back in. Massage the media around the objects. Close the valve. And now you can see that there's no flexibility in this. So now your kit is going to stay exactly where you packed it the whole time during transit and will be ready to deploy when you're in the field. This is the drop test. So as you can see, we dropped that vertically. But because we use the KOR Protection System, everything stays in its place because we offer superior retention than traditional foam. My pistol's still exactly where it was. Optics work. Magazines have not moved or shifted vertically or laterally at all. And in the base of the double panel, your primary weapon system is still fully intact and all the optics are protected. KOR is proudly made in the USA. We use 100% Berry compliant textile, and each panel is crafted with an 8mm exterior seam. This ensures that we hold vacuum through altitude and temperature changes, as well as durability. The material we use has a specific coating that prohibits contaminants from getting into the panel, such as oil, sand, CLP, salt water. All these contaminants get into foam and stay there forever, thus making your foam obsolete. With KOR, all those contaminants wipe clean with a wet paper towel. Furthermore, KOR has passed all MIL 810H testing for temperature, altitude, shock, and vibration. So a panel will operate efficiently at 50 below zero all the way to 150 degrees Fahrenheit. We've also done altitude testing from 0 to 40,000 feet, and we have zero failure or change within the panel. This ensures that your system and your assets are protected in transit no matter what. The KOR Protection System works for any size case. Not only do we provide instant configuration and better protection than traditional foam, but we can retrofit your existing case. We can do it for Pelican, we can do it for SKB, and Zargus too. It doesn't matter what size case, but you could say goodbye to foam and utilize KOR to reconfigure it every single time in under 30 seconds for any particular loadout. So you take out your current system, open the valve, let some air in. Now I'm going to take my optics with me. Nestle them in, take a med kit, connect our pump. Boom. Instantly solid and locked into place. Now we take out our optics from that trip, let air back into the system. Now we're going to take some tools, close our valve, pull vacuum, locked in and ready to transport. Now we can even modify this system to enable deeper objects because we have layers within the case. Take our high value asset drone, and because we don't apply any pressure to the object, all the propellers and gimbals are going to stay exactly where they are and exactly calibrated. So we simply close the valve, pull vacuum. Now that that's locked in, we're going to fully encapsulate it with the next layer of KOR, and then pull vacuum on that so you get 360 degrees of protection on your assets. And you're good to go. KOR was actually born when we were moving, and my wife looked at me and said, "Why do you have so many gun cases?" I said, "Well, because they're all custom cut foam." And she's like, "Why can't you have one case for everything?" Well, you couldn't. And she said, "Well, why can't you make it?" And that's why KOR was born, because we all know the troubles of this stuff. You get foam, you Sharpie it out, you cut it. As soon as you cut foam, you're literally throwing 40% of what you just paid for in the garbage. And then you're stuck to that one single layout and you have no versatility. So you change an optic, you change equipment, your foam goes away, you have to buy new foam. Not only are you taking up more space in the case because you have to have a solid base layer and a solid top layer of foam, but you're also then cutting out the middle and you're only allowing yourself to have one layer of gear, maybe two. With KOR, you can layer the system. You can increase the interior load capacity of your case without sacrificing protection. By the time you get through 3 layouts of custom cut foam or cutting foam yourself, you're at the same price or cost of one KOR system that you can use for infinitely longer and a much longer lifespan. One of the differences between KOR and traditional foam is KOR is actually recyclable. If it does end up in a landfill, it'll only be there for about 20 to 30 years before it decomposes. PU foam is 500 to 1,000 years in a landfill. What KOR offers you is infinite customization, the ultimate protection solution, and an ease of use in retrofitting your existing case without having to worry about constant foam and keeping track of all the different layouts you have. The KOR Protection System enables you to pack multiple layers within a single hard case. So we give you 30% more capacity than traditional pick and pluck foam or other packaging materials like bubble wrap or peanuts. I'm going to show you how in this Pelican 1615 case. So inside here we have 4 KOR panels that provide you 3 layers to pack equipment on. So as you can see, the top layer connects to the top of the case. And you got your first layer of gear, your second layer, which you can see in the base, it absorbs the shape of the object below. And then you're able to pack everything and lay it out so that all the gear in the box is laid out in a single unit. So it's almost like pulling out shelves. So you can see everything you have in your kit box rather than trying to shuffle through and figure out what's what. I'll show you how quickly KOR can be manipulated and how you can wrap objects with a single panel to protect them in transit. For example, this socket wrench is a significant amount of mass, but when we set it in the KOR Protection System, we can manipulate it while it's fluid, and then as we pull vacuum, you can manipulate it more to sculpt the media around the object. And this enables you to have higher retention than traditional foam. So as you can see, this panel is now completely rigid. I can pick it up and we don't lose any of our shape, and all that mass stays in place. And now you can repack. At KOR, we're continuously innovating and listening to customer feedback. One of the new products we're coming out with this year is a soft case. This case actually contains a KOR system inside it, which fits inside your hard case. And as soon as you get to an FOB or an operation, you can take the soft case out. It includes a double panel inside and this simple valve access to control the vacuum from outside the case. We always try and integrate the latest and greatest in technology and materials. We're constantly striving to innovate, This molly is a new woven molly that we're going to integrate into the system. It's super lightweight and durable. Again, everything's very compliant and made in the USA. Another request that we've come up with was a dry bag to protect the KOR system as well. So this is a fully waterproof dry bag for jungle and maritime ops. Not only does it hold a double panel inside to protect your assets, but the secondary and tertiary uses we came up with as well are really important. It can be used as a litter in a pinch, the way we've sewn this fabric together on the sides. It can also be used as a sleeping pad to give you some insulation off of cold or damp ground. The exterior rolls into itself so you can shove it in your ruck, and it includes a waterproof zipper so if you've got any important documents, you can fully encapsulate them inside. We left the back slick. That way, if you're using it as a drag bag or need to tie it down, you don't have any points that it can catch on. Just for our team, for fun, to prove how big or how long we can make KOR, we created a surfboard bag. And this thing is 7.5 feet tall and 28 inches wide. We shipped a brand new board overnight from California to Arizona, and not a single part of the board was damaged. As you can tell, this thing's still solid, and we use the highest grade materials possible to make sure your assets are protected in transit.